video while I still can. Who knows if it will get uploaded to YouTube in time enough. Who knows really how my computer will be handling my file transfers and how it won't get the ever so aggravatingly fucking annoying spinning wheel of death, but who the fuck cares? Let's roll it. So, yeah, Daytona happened. A shit show with Mother Nature happened. What more can I really say? I can for sure assess you that nothing I haven't said before, but this is definitely even worse than Jimmy Johnson's failure to advance back in 2020, because Martin Truex Jr. even had better stats in 2022 than Jimmy Johnson did in 2020, and it has to go crashing down because of the bullshit winning you're in gimmick. Because a crapshoot victory you had in a singular race certainly outweighs the many more races that Truex was far better than you. That makes total sense. Just because you won one race while being completely mediocre at every other race in comparison to Truex means you deserve more of a playoff spot than he does, despite his hard work that would pay off even more greatly than Austin Dillon. If that doesn't set the tone for this video, then I don't know what the fuck does. But I want to say this. I would love to see Truex just blossom into 3 consecutive victories. It likely might not happen, but I just want to even further see the exposure of how massively farcical this playoff format is. Most of you asshats who are very apologetic towards NASCAR's absolutely preposterous decision-making tried to give me the excuse, oh, that's because they want to combat Mother Nature. It rains in fucking February, you dipshits. It rains in February for Daytona 500. It'll rain in summer. It'll rain in autumn. Rain in spring. Rain in fucking even the coldest part of winter, which they don't even need to go through. So why is that even an excuse to begin with? See what they put us up to when it comes to appeasing the excitement when you put style over substance bullshit. This shit happens. Can't we just go back to Richmond so we can actually see drivers race their way into the playoffs without some kind of ridiculous crapshoot? Or better yet, just ditch the fucking playoffs. As if we haven't already said that almost even more times than the amount of years the universe in Earth years existed. Oh my god. Every year, there's always seems to be an even worse example of why the playoff format is just a massive farce and has no business being in racing. Let's see, Martin Truex Jr. 3 top 5s, 12 top 10s, average finish of 13.2. 13.2. And what do we have for Austin Dillon? 4 top 5s, which is only barely better than Truex by 1. 8 top 10s, down by 4. Only led 18 into the comparison of Truex's 456. Average finish is even 3 times worse than Truex. 16.7. Somehow a 16.7 is more playoff championship contending worthy than a 13.2? How does that make sense? Kevin Harvick has an average finish slightly worse than that, and yet he's playoff eligible. You can't possibly make this up. You can't make up what an absolute farce this format is. Listen, you can't even compare Austin Dillon's mediocre average finish to Truex's. I'm not mad at Austin Dillon. He got the win, good for him. But holy shit. It gets worse every single season. It gets gradually, progressively worse every single season. Of why it's become an even worse example of why playoffs need to be abolished. In 2014, Ryan Newman made it into the Final Four, even though he barely had an average finish of 15, and none of his top 5 or top 10 finishes were even anywhere close to the greatness that Jeff Gordon was. Jeff Gordon literally even had almost more top 5s than Ryan Newman did in top 10s. 2015. Do I even need to say anything about 2015? 2017. Kyle Larson is eliminated from playoffs because of one singular blown engine? Can someone tell me how does one victory outweigh all the other 25 races that you were absolutely shit in? Jimmy Johnson missing the playoffs 2 years ago was now and is officially in vain because look at Cole Custer. Not a top 5 since then. And now we even have a worse exhibit, where Truex gradually even fucking sets Austin Dillon's season in a massive raging inferno, and yet he's still knocked out. Because we have an absolute farcical joke of a format. There's no way that Austin Dillon should even be close to Truex. If you think this is the living embodiment, if you think wins is better than keeping up with your consistency and on-track performance, you are seriously several miles out of your mind. You are a dumbass that loves to cling to eye candy value. How is that fair? How, in the actual honest of fucks, is that fair? If you're gonna say it's fair that Truex missed the playoffs just because he just couldn't get that one singular win compared to every other wax in the field, then I'm gonna say that you deserve only $4 an hour no matter how hard you work at your minimum wage job. No matter how hard you work at McDonald's. Why are we still clinging to all the stupid hicks that think crashes are more important and of more entertainment value than actually racing your way like men into the playoffs? If we're even gonna have playoffs at all, what the fuck? Can't they just go to some race that actually takes skill? Well, I wouldn't say actually takes skill, but isn't so much of a crapshoot like Daytona, and doesn't play with hydro. I'd say playing with fire, but playing hydro makes more sense in this scenario. Or at the very least, why can't we just go with? Why can't we just go with a track like, oh, I don't know, fucking, let's say freaking Michigan or something? Then again, it always seemed to suit the whole big regular season finale whenever they ended under the lights, whenever they were setting in the dark. But so, either go back to Richmond or install stadium lights or actually just maybe even go to Las Vegas for the regular season finale. I don't see any problem going to Las Vegas. Or fuck, Anything that isn't a crapshoot, anything that doesn't involve pack racing, anything that doesn't involve long-winded delays. It was a problem in July, February, and it will continue to be a problem no matter where you move Daytona. End of story. I don't want to hear that kind of damage control. You need to stop, and I mean stop, damage controlling what an absolute farce this format is, and actually look at how hard it has been exposed time and time again. I totally want to see Martin Truex Jr. blossom, just like how Tony Stewart did in 2006, where he won 3 times in the chase despite not being a chase contender. 2 races in a row he's won. Atlanta and Texas. Honestly, to be fair, his Kansas victory was a bit too hard on the nose, considering that it was a fuel mileage race and a lot of out-of-blue penalties seemed to be slapping in the balls to a lot of chase contenders. Not even just that, but also mechanical problems such as Jeff Gordon and Casey Kane were facing that day. But I digress. This is just a behemoth fucking joke that NASCAR obviously has been perpetuating and desperately trying to sweep under the rug for so long because they would rather see all the fucking nukes and napalm strikes all over the track than to see actual talent, to see the actual integrity of the driver performance unfold organically. The reason why people look back so fondly of championship battles like the 1992 championship battle or even before the stupidest version of the format chase in 2014 defecated onto NASCAR. You want to know why we look back so fondly at 2010, 2004, and of course the most fan favorite example, 2011, because they raced organically on points without the help of a win and you're automatically playoff eligible bullshit. Without even trying to put your name on top of the mainstream media hype that is NFL. So you need to stop comparing yourselves to a sport that involves one team versus one team in comparison to races that involve 36 to 40 drivers every single weekend. You are comparing fucking avocados to bananas. Holy fuck. This desperate kind of competition against the NFL is ridiculous. How much longer are you going to keep this up? To what extent does it become, are you going to realize how much you've destroyed any kind of enthusiasm for any kind of exciting championship battle? Because none of them are exciting at all. The only reason they'll be at all exciting is if your driver wins, because there's no type points battle. And Truex missing the playoffs just because so many farcical drivers, or drivers with farcical stats, just happen to ass their way into the freaking playoffs just because of a win, just because of a crapshoot win that somehow is better than the hard work Martin Truex Jr. has put in and week out. That would pay off more magnificently than Austin Dillon would ever even fucking predict. He's gonna go out first round, just like Cole Custer did 2 years ago. Don't be surprised if Cole Custer get his ass kicked out of a top-tier team. And if they did, and if they do keep him around, it's the money talking. So you need to take a good look at what you tried to accomplish has officially failed. Because if you're going to make a playoff system that puts emphasis more on winning than actually keeping up with consistency in top 10s and top 5s and average finishes, then you've officially failed a long time ago. Because do I even need to reference Matt Crafton in the Truck Series again? Because he didn't even win a single race. Completely exposed the massive craters of how ginormously flawed this playoff format is. It's an absolute dumpster fire, dumpster inferno of an abomination that should not have existed to begin with. Who looked at this and said, oh yeah, this is okay. This is totally fine. And this totally won't cause any structural integrity to our sport. No, not at all. Who? Their balls ought to be on a platter. Because this is just outright deplorable. Truex fans, this Jimmy fan that's still stained with PTSD from his last 2 seasons is here if you really need to talk. I'll do the best of my ability to be available if you really need any kind of catharsis, because I've thrown in my 2 cents multiple times of why NASCAR will do everything to shoot themselves in the foot, because they will do anything to wank off any kind of fucking drama-mongering bullshit, but no matter how logical one will sound, it's not ever going to be taken note of. One of the biggest final frontiers of proving what a massive farce this playoff format is seeing Martin Truex Jr. sweep around while Austin Dillon gets chalked out of the first round. Okay, I'm just thinking out loud at this point. This playoff format is a disgusting dumpster fire farce, and nobody, not anyone who even has a third of a brain can provide a singular, rational, secular reason of why this has any validation of existing.